Joining us, president of the Bethpage Golf Group. Bethpage will be hosting the PGA Championship next summer, plus the Ryder Cup in 2024. You've also seen her on the Golf Channel as well. Kelley Brooke joining us this morning in studio so you could watch along with us at watchda.com. Kelley, good morning.
Thanks, DA. Thanks for having me.
You got it. How you doing?
Good. Everything's great.
Good. You just heard us debating the Jack Nicklaus. Could he possibly consider his grandson hitting a hole-in-one yesterday in the par 3 event before the Masters at Augusta? Could he possibly consider that the greatest moment he's ever experienced at the Masters, which is what he said to reporters after it happened? We've been debating back and forth whether he's telling the truth or not. What do you think?
I absolutely believe that that's the greatest moment, and here's why. You have to understand, as golfers, it's an individual sport. We have no one to share these moments with. After I graduated college, that was a team event. I had no one to share it with anymore. Jack Nicklaus has had, how old is he? He's in his 80s. He said 60 years of having these moments. Maybe he shares them with his wife at some point later on, but everyone was there for him. You know, the whole entire family was there. He's at the end of his career. It was kind of like the grand finale, and it was definitely a shareable moment, which we don't have many of those. So
interesting. So you think, forget the 6 Masters, the 6 green jackets, forget the 86 Masters where he makes history at 46 years old. You think yesterday a hole-in-one in a par 3 event actually is the greatest moment Jack Nicklaus has ever felt on that golf course?
I honestly, I do. I really do, because it's a job. You know, golf is a job to us. And you think, I mean, Tiger Woods has won how many tournaments? You can't tell me that every single one of those wins was the most special moment of his life. It's a job. This was he and his family and everyone standing there, and it wasn't about him for the first time in 83 years. It was about someone else. So I think it's exciting.
You think actually because Jack Nicklaus didn't actually do it, because it was somebody else's moment, it has to be better because it's not a job, it's an actual kind of impromptu moment of somebody else's joy.
With family and friends there and the whole world seeing it, it was an exciting moment. It touched me. I watched it live and I teared up a little bit.
It was amazing.
I understood how he was feeling. It was a shareable moment, like I keep saying, and we don't have many shareable moments in golf as an individual sport.
Well, speaking of Jack, obviously Tiger's been chasing Jack for quite some time now, and it has felt in recent years like he would never approach Jack, and he probably still won't, but people do believe that he is one of the favorites. Vegas has installed him as one of the favorites for this tournament. Let's start here, you being a swing coach, understanding the mechanics of it all. What specifically has Tiger done over the last, let's say, calendar year to put himself back into the fray?
Well, physically, he's gotten himself in shape. You know, he's doing a lot of TPI work, Titleist Performance Institute work. He obviously has had several injuries. He's had, 4 back surgeries, 4 knee surgeries. He fired his last swing coach. I don't know if it's firing. Tiger tends to go through swing coaches. I mean, he's won 4 Masters with 3 different swings.
Goes through them like girlfriends.
So he's always tinkering. But, you know, he has a great understanding of the swing at this point, and he had to make adjustments with his fused back. So a couple of things physically that he did. He, you know, in his stance, he weakened his grip a tad bit so he could get in a different position at top. His grip used to be a lot more strong. As far as his stance goes, he opened his rear foot up a tad bit so he can get a little better turn because he can't turn with the fused back. He his target side foot, it's not as flared out because that restricts your hip turn a little bit. And as far as his swing, I think that he's in a good place because he's getting his club a little more upright instead of so flat. So I think his misses are going to be less grandiose. He's still going to miss the ball. You know, I think Tiger's biggest issue is that he tries to keep up with these young kids, and he tries to swing out of his shoes sometimes, and his misses are long and wrong when he does that.
Interesting. Kelley Brooke joins us, president of the Bethpage Golf Group. You've seen her on the Golf Channel as well. She joins us here in studio talking about the Masters today. How much of Tiger's problems over the last 3 years or so on the golf course have been mental versus physical?
That is an excellent question. As most golfers know, golf is 95 to 99% mental. You mentioned that he was chasing Jack Nicklaus. I think it was awfully convenient. You know, he had most of his problems in 2009, his family problems. And that's when he started having all these physical issues. And that's not a coincidence. I can tell you, I have 7 herniated discs in my back. When my mental state is good and I'm happy, I don't have any pain. When my mental state is not in a great place or I'm stressed out, I feel every single one of those herniated discs. So I think that also, as I started to say, he was been chasing Jack Nicklaus. You have to understand that Tiger, I think he's a wonderful human being now, but he was very entitled as a child, and he was very entitled. He had all the women he could want, all the money he could want, all the fame he could want, and when his whole world fell apart emotionally and the world kind of turned on him, I think it was kind of convenient that he all of a sudden started having back problems, back pain. It was kind of a way out. And I think he needed some time to adjust. I think he spent more time working on his self-awareness and his mental frame of mind since all these incidents happened. And he took some time off. He blamed it on injuries, but, you know, he's an athlete. We all blame things on injuries sometimes, but in reality, it's the space between our ears that's getting in the way, not the physical problems.
You said he's a wonderful person now. What do you base that on?
Well, I mean, back in the day, he was very entitled. He was not the most friendly guy in the locker room to the other touring pros. You know, he could stare right through you, walk right past you in the locker room. He's been humbled a lot in the last decade. And now, you know, yesterday I was watching him warm up on the range. He was talking to Zach Johnson. He was joking. He was congenial. He's a much different person than he was back in the day when he was on top.
So he's treating his fellow competitors better.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and he talks more to his caddy. He asks how his caddy's day is. You know, in the old days it was all about Tiger, and I can't say that I blame him. I mean, we're again in an individual sport. We've been meant to believe that we're better than everyone in our sport. We had to believe that because golf is so mental. And so he used to thrive on that, but now that he's been humbled, I think that he's a whole different person. And it took him he tried to make comebacks, but he wasn't in the right place mentally to do it. I believe right now he's in the right place mentally to accomplish that. And I think he has a lot of self-awareness.
Kelley Brooke joins us, president of the Bethpage Golf Group. As we look at the field here, Tiger's one of the favorites. Who do you like best?
I mean, I like Rory. Rory won a couple weeks ago. He's had 2 top 3 finishes on the European Tour. But I really love Justin Thomas. He's won 7 times since 2017 started. So I think that he's got an excellent chance. I also like Bubba. I mean, Bubba has great power. What's the par 5 13? He's able to cut over the trees where other guys aren't able to do it. I think he had a wedge in a couple years ago to 13. And he's on a hot streak. He's won twice in the last couple of weeks. So I think it's anyone's game. I really do. But I'm telling you, don't discount Tiger. He's right there. He's circling like a shark, and he could win this.
Is this a renaissance for him if he can win this, or is this a moment for Tiger and then he kind of sags back into the pack?
I think that if he wins this, his career will explode again.
Really?
He needs. Here's the thing with Tiger is every single time he goes out on the golf course, it's like a home court advantage. Everyone is rooting for him. This country's funny because no one liked him when he was on top. They tore him apart, and he had all of his texts exposed. He was on the New York Post on the front page for 20 days in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how this country ripped him apart, but our country also now is rallying for him, and it's like he's got the home court advantage. He just needs to believe in himself again, and he needs to feel loved. Tiger has always just wanted to be loved. I don't know if it was because he was an African-American growing up in a white-dominated sport, but he feels loved now, and if he wins this, it's just going to give him that little confidence, and then there's no stopping him.
Well, he's had a complicated relationship with his parents, very clearly.
Yeah.
A very deep-rooted but also complicated relationship with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's got to be something there. But you think that he just needed to mentally get out of the fray, get
Absolutely.
out of the pressurizer the last couple of years.
Absolutely. And it's not so easy to claw your way back mentally, but, he used the I'm not denying that he has back problems. I'm not. But let me tell you, I can play golf with 7 herniated discs just fine. I've had ACL replacement. We've all had that. He needed that time to recoup physically, but more so he needed it to recoup mentally.
At Bethpage, you guys will host the PGA Championship next summer,
Yep.
which is very cool, and then also the Ryder Cup in 2024. How exciting is it to have those events coming through your course?
I can't even tell you. The PGA is already on site. They have a trailer. The energy is exciting. We have all of our PGA merchandise in the pro shop right now. It's just, at Bethpage, I just moved in there January 1st. I won the rights to operate it. It's a 20-year contract. And I didn't realize how incredibly special Bethpage is. You drive in, and we have these huge trees, and the aura and the feeling just when you drive in the place is so exciting. And then to know that we have the PGA Championship coming and the Ryder Cup, it is beyond exciting for me.
That's very, very cool. So before we let you go, I wanted you to help out our listeners and the rest of us here on the show as well, because while some of us are golfers, I'm certainly kind of a hack golfer. We are all putt-putters. We're all mini golfers. And since you are a swing coach and a swing mechanic, I don't have a putter on hand, unfortunately, but we will use a baseball bat.
All
and
right.
I need you to help me. What is the ideal putt-putt grip here? I'm going to step away from the microphone, and then you just kind of help me with this. Okay?
Well, you know what you're going to have to do is show me your stroke right now, and then I'll tell you.
All right. So why don't we just raise my microphone here? If I am doing one of these.
I mean, you know what? I think that I see a lot of body movement with you.
Too much body movement.
Too much body movement.
Okay.
So let's widen your stance a little bit, get a better base.
Okay, so let's say that the feet should be more than shoulder width apart.
For you, especially because you have so much movement.
Yeah.
And I think because your wrists, you're very wristy, what we're going to do is we're going to take your...
Too wristy.
Too wristy. We're going to take your left hand and go low.
Oh.
Right hand higher.
Oh, interesting.
And that's going to take the wrist out of your putting stroke.
So I'm a righty, so you're saying put the right hand above the left hand.
Right, exactly. Only because you're so wristy.
And slight bend at the knee?
That's personal preference, but just try to keep your lower body very still, like you're standing in cement. Just shoulders. Awesome.
That's better?
That's much better.
Wow.
See, I think you could actually shoot par at the next mini golf tournament you go to.
This is also good, though, for putting in real golf.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is interesting. So dominant hand above, dominant hand at the top of the club.
If you're really wristy, it takes that wrist right out. We want to have no wrist in the putting stroke.
No wrist. Okay, if you want to eliminate being too wristy.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Right.
This is good. Kelley Brooke joining us here on the show, president of the Bethpage Golf Group. They've got the PGA Championship next summer. They've got the Ryder Cup in 2024. You've seen her on Golf Channel as well, joining us here on the show. Kelley, this was a lot of fun. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
Kelley Brooke joining us in studio. You're watching at WatchDA.com.